Hi. So yeah, we have the player workshop here, the Adventuring Academy 101.
Yay!
Yay! Cool.
Just some introductions. I'm Julia. I'm the head of development.
I'm Anthony, head of gameplay. So yeah. Moving on to our first slide. We got character creation.
Character creation. So first, we're just going to kind of cover the basics of how to make a character and the steps you need to take. And as we do it, we're going to be giving an example of a character that we will kind of be creating as we talk about it. So yeah, let's move on to the first slide. So first things first, we just want to cover some of the basic races. So these are the 9 kind of classic D&D races, but there are so many more. But these are just really good ones to start with just because they are a little more simple and common to find information on, whereas some of the other ones require they're a bit more complicated. So you have dragonborns, dwarves, elves, gnomes, half-elves, halflings, half-orcs, humans, and tieflings. All of those, which we'll cover later, have different sub-races, and they all have their own unique kind of racial traits. And yeah.
All right.
Okay, so first things first, when you make a character, you're gonna want to select their race, and a character's race is going to establish their general appearance and their natural talents. Each race is going to grant particular racial traits, and these traits tend to coincide with certain classes, making them a good playing combination. But obviously, it can also be really fun to play as a race and class that don't entirely match up. And a character's race will also increase one or more of their ability scores. And some races also have sub races to choose from, which not all of them do, but most of them do. And then, so for our example, our character that we're creating right now is a satyr, which is a little bit of a less common D&D race. It's kind of new. And an example of a racial trait that a satyr has is mirthful leap, which will allow our character to jump higher or longer distances. And an ability score increase that this race gives our character it allows our character to increase their charisma score by 2 and their dexterity score by 1. And we will be explaining ability scores a little bit more in depth later on.
All right.
So class. There are a lot of different classes. So we're just going to read the list.
Right.
So we've got barbarians, bards, clerics, paladins, rangers, rogues, druids, fighters, monks, sorcerers, warlocks, wizards. And then there's been kind of 2 new ones added, which you can find in official D&D content. There's artificers and blood hunters. Both are very cool, but these are the kind of more classic, more well-known, common ones. We won't go super in depth onto each of them, but I highly recommend you do your own research on all of these different classes, as well as all the different races we just talked about. There's so many cool ones. Yeah. Okay, so obviously now that we've selected a race, we're going to want to select the class. So a character's class is going to broadly describe their vocation, special talents, and tactics that they may use while performing certain actions. Class features are given based on class, and those are capabilities that set your character apart from those of other classes. And your class will also give you proficiencies. Your character is going to gain proficiencies in certain areas, and certain classes will allow you to gain expertise in some areas. So as your character levels up, you're going to gain more of those class features and more proficiencies. And at level 3, you're going to have to select a subclass, which depending on your class, it might be known as something a bit different, but all in all, it's a subclass. And some classes are spellcasters, and we're going to discuss spellcasting a bit more on in depth later on. But when you do that, you're going to have to select your spells. So for our character, we decided to go with a bard class, and bards are, musicians, kind of the classic performer, entertainer, but a bit fun. And so bards are spellcasters. So when making the character, we're making our character, we're gonna have to select spells that a bard will use. And then at level 3, we're going to choose our subclass, which for the case of a bard, it is called the Bard College. And we are going to choose the College of Lore, which you can read more into if you're interested. And then an example of a class feature that bards come with is Bardic Inspiration, which gives you inspiration bonus to another player's roll. Okay, sorry, I did not. Apparently we weren't on the screen. It's fine. And so an example of a proficiency that being a bard will give you is at the first level, bards gain 3 skill proficiencies and proficiency in 3 musical instruments.
All right, so with abilities and skills, just to give a straight rundown of it, you have the... Wait, are we missing one? No, we're not.
No.
Yes, wait.
No.
Yeah, we're missing con. But abilities and skills, you have 6 main things: strength, dexterity, intelligence, wisdom, charisma, and constitution. With those, you have certain things that you would roll in order to do certain activities and actions that you would take. So say you wanted to break down a door, you would do an athletics check, which falls under strength. Or say you wanted to kind of tame a lion that's out on the loose, you would roll something like an animal handling check in order to kind of see if you succeed. Going with proficiencies and all that type of stuff, proficiencies allow you to kind of be more proficient in those type of skills, and you roll better with those.
Okay, so do you want to talk about this one too?
Sure. So when you're starting out your character and all that type of stuff, in order to kind of determine your ability scores, you want to, how it's usually done, is that you roll 4 d6s, unless the DM states otherwise, and you subtract the lowest. So, and you repeat this for every single ability score that you do. And then you also get to choose where these numbers go into. So it doesn't have to be in order. For example, if you rolled a 4, a 2, a 6, and a 5 on your d6s that you rolled, you would subtract the 2 because it's the lowest, and then your score would be 15, adding up the 4, 5, and 6. And then you can decide to put it into something like charisma. And we have Temerity's stats as well.
Yeah. Okay, so character details. This is where we're going to get into kind of the more specifics about who your character is, what they want, and where they came from. So first off, give your character a name. Anything you want. Can be fun, can be serious, whatever you want. And then physical description. What do they look like? How old are they? What color is their hair? What color is their eyes, their skin? How are they built, their height or weight? And do they have any memorable or unusual physical characteristics? And when describing their appearance, we suggest using their race as a basis, but also consider things like their class and their personality, which can really be highlighted through the appearance that you give them. So for our character, we decided to go with the name Temerity Chiron. She's going to be 18, and since she's a satyr, she'll have a goat-like lower body, pointed ears, and horns. Her hair is dyed hot pink, which is kind of an example of one of those unique characteristics. Her skin is going to be kind of fair, but her fur, because she's a satyr, so she's kind of beast-like, is darker brown, and she'll have blue eyes, and she'll be on the shorter side and rather small, which her class as a bard means that she should be a little bit more dexterous. That will help kind of show off her class abilities. And she sports some simple clown makeup, which is another example of that unique physical characteristic and how it's her personality.
Yeah.
So personality. So now you're going to want to kind of think about your character's personality, and personality is kind of an array of traits, mannerisms, habits, beliefs, and flaws that give them a unique identity. And doing this is going to really help you bring them to life at the table, especially when you're going to be doing role play. And when describing their personality, think about their personality traits, their ideals, their bonds, and their flaws. So here are some examples of different parts of Temerity's personality. So as a personality trait, we went with, I know a story relevant to almost every situation. For an ideal, we chose creativity. The world is in need of new ideas and bold actions. For bonds, we chose, I want to be famous, whatever it takes. And for flaws, I'm a sucker for a pretty face. And so all of these kind of personality traits really like exemplify her class and her race of a satyr and a bard, which are known to be very charismatic, very social. And all of these character traits were actually taken from the selection that her background and like her class provide, because if you're kind of getting started with personality creation, there's like a really good like lists of different personality traits, ideals, bonds, and flaws you can find in like official D&D books or on like some of the websites. Yeah,
and mostly this is just used kind of as a guide to help you imagine how your character would react to certain situations and kind of get that picture into your head.
You can change up any of this as you want it to fit your character. And also this is a lot of these like more like things like personality, when we talk about alignment, like it's very much for like beginners to like really get an idea of how to go about creating a character. And as you kind of move on and like become a more experienced player, like you don't have to fully follow these more like general character description type things, because you can create your own personalities and like your own personality traits and stuff.
Just do what you think is fun.
Yeah. So alignment. Now you're going to want to choose an alignment which will describe your moral question and personal attitudes. Your alignment might and probably will change over the time as your character develops, because who doesn't love some good character development? And before we kind of go into the alignments, it is really important to note that alignment, like in my personal opinion, and I know Anthony kind of agrees, is it's a good starting off point, but don't take it so seriously, because like it's going to change. And also personalities and characters are complex people. So obviously like their specific alignment is not going to fully explain the entire extent of their personality and their character, but it is still like a good jumping off point to kind of work on character development. So there are 9 alignments, which are each a combination of the first section, which is lawful, neutral, or chaotic, and then the second section, which is good, neutral, or evil. Yeah. So first, we have lawful good. Lawful good characters can be counted on to do the right thing as expected by society. Neutral good characters do the best they can to help others according to their own need. Chaotic good characters act as their own conscious directs with little regard for what others expect. Lawful neutral characters act in accordance with law, tradition, or personal codes. Neutral characters steer clear of moral question, don't take sides, and do what seems best at the time. Chaotic neutral characters follow their whims, holding their personal freedom above all else. Lawful evil characters take what they want within the limits of a code of tradition, loyalty, or order. Sorry. Neutral evil characters do whatever they can to get away with without compassion or qualms. And chaotic evil characters act with arbitrary violence spurred by their greed, hatred, or bloodlust. And a lot of these alignments are very like, when you choose like a class or race, there's different recommended alignments based on that, because there's some races that tend to fall under certain alignments. But again, like, don't feel pressured to play a character and like choose an alignment that fits their race or class, because it's really fun to play like things that kind of contradict one another. And for our character example that we've been talking about, we chose Temerity's alignment to be chaotic neutral. Okay, so backgrounds. So now you're going to want to choose a background, which is going to reveal where they came from and your place in the world. So when you do this, you're going to want to ask yourself, why did my character stop doing what their background described and start adventuring? Because that's going to be a really good kind of starting off point to write your backstory. Each background is going to give you proficiency in 2 skills as well as starting equipment. Most backgrounds will also give you proficiency with 1 or more tools and or let you learn additional languages. And if there isn't a background that describes your character, you can totally create your own. Just make sure to check in with your DM about that one. And then for the LG character that we've been creating, we chose the background of entertainer. And this background is going to give Temerity skill proficiencies in acrobatics and performance, tool proficiencies in disguise kits and a musical instrument of your choice. And equipment that is going to kind of give you is an instrument, a favor of an admirer, a costume, and 15 gold. And then, okay, that's another thing that's important to discuss. So sometimes your background might give you skill proficiencies and skills that you already have proficiencies in from your class. And when that happens, you're just going to want to pick different proficiencies. It's as simple as that. Yeah. Okay, so backstory. You're definitely going to want to write some sort of a character backstory because that is really useful for DMs to have, so they can kind of work your character into the story potentially, and also so that you can work with other players to kind of think of how your characters might know each other or how they might have met. So for backstory, you're going to want to come up with how your character came to be, and you're going to want to try to fit them into your DM's campaign and be willing to work with them in order to do so. And usually a good rule to some things to kind of ask yourself while doing this: how old are they? What is their hometown? Who are their parents or their guardians? What caused them to start adventuring? Do they have a moral code? What do they desire? And maybe come up with like a non-player character that impacted them and an unresolved conflict. So for Temerity's backstory, which we didn't write out here because this was a bit of a last minute addition that we remembered to add at the last minute. I don't have all the specifics with me, but when I was writing it, one of the biggest things was like, she kind of was resentful of being a bard. So she wanted to kind of go prove herself in another area. So she joined the Lions Guild to kind of prove herself as an adventurer. And to kind of add in a bit of spice, I was like, her family owned a circus and they stole a lot and were not the best. And so she was raised to be this like really great entertainer and kind of pickpocketer. And then when she left, she kind of brought all that knowledge with her to learn how to use like her bardic knowledge to be an adventurer.
Right. So whenever you're playing the game, you eventually have a moment where you level up. And with this moment, you get a bunch of new things depending on your class. May they be like extra attacks and so on. You also get higher level spell slots or more spell slots of the same level, which we'll go over later on. You roll for more health. You get either an ASI, which is a thing where you can increase one of your ability scores by 2 of them by 1 or 1 of them by 2. Or you can take a feat instead of an ASI, which gives you a variety of different things depending on which one you decide to take. For Temerity here, when she leveled up, instead of an ASI, she was going to 4 feats, and she decided to not take an ASI. She decided to take the athlete feat, which increases your strength or dexterity by 1, and does a bunch of other things, such as when you're prone, standing up only is 5 feet of movement. Climbing is easier and doesn't cost you extra movement, so you get a climbing speed, and then also you can make a running long jump or high jump after moving only 5 feet, rather than getting a running start.
Rolling for hit points. So hit dice, the die you roll whenever your character levels up is, do you want to talk about this one? I feel like I'm gonna mess up.
So hit dice is the die that you roll whenever your character decides, whenever your DM allows your character to level up. Maybe through XP or milestone, who knows? It depends on the DM. This depends on the DM's ruling, but also usually I started off with first level is the maximum die roll, so you have at least something at first level. And then every level afterwards, you roll your hit dice and you add it to your HP, which I usually do a roll where I re-roll ones because ones are the worst. You also, whenever you level up, you add your constitution modifier to your health every single level, hence why it's also a worthy area to put more of your stats into your ability score for con.
Yeah, so this is kind of an example of what a final character might look like, because once you finish, you're going to make sure you put it all together onto a character sheet. So this is kind of an example of what a character sheet looks like. It's a little hard to see, and if you're interested in getting like a PDF copy of like an example of a final character sheet, we could totally upload Temerity's into the Discord. And this is a little character art because, you know, if you like to draw, it's sometimes fun to draw your characters out, or even just like find picture references online, because sometimes it's really good to kind of have that like visual aid. And yeah. That's the end of character making.
All right. And then you also have a couple of resources as well that you can use. You can find free character sheets online to print out and just write by hand, or you can use things like D&D Beyond, which kind of makes the character creation process a bit easier and just more feasible for online type of things. You also have plenty of websites such as D&D Beyond and like Roll20 that will help provide detailed information regarding character creation. Say, like, they give you the different classes and tells you everything what happens from first level to 20th level, also with races and spells and all that, and they help you out. The official D&D books also have great pieces of information, the player's handbook especially, because it's named for players, and it kind of goes through this entire process as well. And also, we are a resource to help you guys with any kind of trouble that you go on along the way.
Yeah.
You can talk to us and we'll try to help.
Yeah, and specifically out of all of the Lions Guild board members, me, Julia, and Anthony are especially here to help you. I'm supposed to be kind of more for players and Anthony's more for DMs, but also like our roles kind of like intertwine. Eventually we're going to be doing like office hour type of thing. So if you literally ever just have questions about character creation, come talk to one of us in the chat. I think the chat for that is the Brewery for Character Creation.
Brewery's Homebrew.
Brewery's Homebrew.
I think it's the Anvil.
Oh, it's the Blacksmith one.
Blacksmith.
I think it's the Blacksmith. That's where I'm going to kind of be to help with character creation and all the other board members as well. And also, like, if you ever just want to like talk, like we can schedule Zooms or you can email us, DM us, whatever you want. Like, we're here to help you come up with really cool characters so you can have a lot of fun playing. And yeah.
So we're going to go over a couple things just at the table, like common courtesies and other type of things that would apply here. I'm going to go with this one.
Yeah. Okay, so courtesies. There's just some common things to keep in mind while you play. So first things first, be kind, you know, be nice. Even if you're going to be playing a more evil, mean character, like make sure that you're not going to act like that character outside of role play. You're going to want to respect players' boundaries. You're going to want to be open to feedback. Don't cheat. You know, pretty simple. And respect the DM's ruling. Not everything is by the book. Try not to talk over other players. Try not to kill other players. If there is a certain moment, like a fight or a romance with another character, talk to them out of game to make sure they're okay with it. A fun example is I was in a one-shot the other day, and me and another character before playing decided our characters had a previous romantic type of a thing, so we kind of brought that into the one-shot a bit. You're going to definitely want to talk to your, like, whoever you're playing with beforehand if you want to have really, like, certain interactions.
Yeah, because if you bring that stuff on the spot, it gets really awkward really fast.
Yeah.
And can kind of ruin the session.
Yeah, and there's definitely a big difference between doing something like that with like an NPC and somebody who's actually playing and trying to enjoy the game in real time. So just talk to your other players and make sure they're okay with everything that you're going to be doing in the game. You're going to tell your DM about important decisions or actions that you're going to take, such as leaving the party or becoming an enemy of the party. Sometimes like DMs will want to work with you on stuff like this. Like another example from a past game I've played is I had a character that did eventually become kind of like a villain, and like it was something that was kind of alluded to, and then we talked about it and made it work within the game. Don't try to metagame. Do you have any other notes on that one?
I know it can be hard sometimes to like not kind of think outside of like what your character knows, but just kind of try to think of what your character would do in that moment and not let kind of outside forces kind of involve that.
Yeah. So know what you're going to do on your combat turn. That's a really good thing. Like even though it's a little on the spot,
it saves time in combat a lot.
Yeah.
If you kind of just look at like, oh hey, I want to use this spell on this person, while other players are going, so that you're not kind of just standing there for like a good 5 minutes just debating while everyone else is waiting. It gets things quicker.
Yeah, and then also that can really help with role play, so you're not spending that time like looking at your character sheets and second guessing yourself. Like you can like say what you're going to do, but say it in a role play kind of way.
So it also gives you kind of more time to think of like what you're exactly doing and kind of give more description of what you're doing.
And so, you don't need to solve every problem with violence unless you want to. You know, sometimes you might just want to distract someone by talking to them for like 5 minutes and questioning them. Sometimes you might want to just intimidate someone. And sometimes you do just want to punch someone in the face, and that's okay too. But you know, the most entertaining solutions to problems tend to be things that are a little more unique. So have fun with coming up with ideas to solve those problems. Consult the DM about homebrew if you want to make it and be willing to talk about it or make changes to it, because homebrew is super fun. It can be super cool and it can make like your game super unique and interesting, but also there's big risk for that to become extremely overpowered or to just really not work in the setting of your game. So you have to talk to your DM about those things. And in terms of learning how to make homebrew stuff, we're here to fully help you. I would definitely suggest going to Anthony because he knows a lot about in-game mechanics.
Go to your DM first.
Yeah, go to your DM.
And then hopefully your DM will come to us to kind of help.
Yeah, but like in the future, if homebrew stuff is to be made, we are the people to talk to about that. So try to remember the names, classes, and races of other players. It is super fun to take notes while you play. I highly recommend it. I always have like a little piece of paper or like another tab on my computer pulled up to just take notes about like what's happening, who the characters are that I'm interacting with, because it's easy to mix them all up, and it definitely makes it, I think, a better role-playing experience to know those things about other people's characters. And if problems arise, talk to other players and or your DM. Please communicate. Like if a problem comes up and you just ignore it, it's going to get worse, and you do not want that to happen because that will make the game less fun. And don't bring personal biases into the game. As simple as that. Those can definitely cause conflicts in game that should have not been there in the first place. Okay, so role play, go for it. It's super fun. Totally understand if you're not comfortable, but hopefully that you are playing with a group of people in a setting that makes you comfortable doing this type of thing. You want to maybe embody your character's personality. Are they easily agitated? Are they aggressive? Are they passive? Are they lighthearted? Are they stoic? Might want to play around with character voices like pitch, tempo, accents. Player-on-player interactions. How would a righteous stoic dragonborn paladin interact with a goofy, chaotic, evil tiefling bard? And you're going to want to foster a space where everybody feels comfortable to roleplay, but obviously do not feel pressure to roleplay if you are not comfortable. But it's really fun. So
yeah, and I also want to add with the player-to-player interactions, just don't be afraid to kind of just talk to other players in character and kind of roleplay with them, even if it's kind of like on your downtime when you're at a campsite or something. Just don't be afraid to kind of start that conversation with them. So moving onwards to basic mechanics. First off, know your dice. So know what a D100 is, know what a D10 is, know what a D12, a D20, a D4, a D6, and D8 looks like, and kind of where to apply that in that situation. Because when somebody says like a D12, no, it's the 12-sided dice. That looks kind of weird, you know. Moving on to combat, some basic stuff with combat would be every single turn you have an action, a bonus action, a movement, a reaction. You have those are the four main things that you have in a turn. The action allows you to kind of do mostly anything that you want. You can attack, you can interact with objects, so on and so forth. You can cast a spell, and then you also have a bonus action, which some features allow you to attack with a bonus action or to disengage with a bonus action, or some spells are bonus action spells, and you can cast them through that. You also have your movement, which is pretty self-explanatory. You have flying, climbing, and then regular walking speed. Depending on how much that is how far you can move towards your target or away from it. You also have your reaction, which is kind of in between turns. You can, if something arises, like say an opportunity attack you have, someone goes out of your reach, you can attack them with your reaction, and then you use that for your turn. Once you get it back, once your turn comes around again, you get that reaction back. Also know kind of the class and racial features that you have that you can use as actions and bonus actions because it's helpful. Like there's a lot of times that a bard in my campaign like forgets that they have inspiration and then like ends up not using it or have cutting words, and that attack that knocked down another ally could have been dodged and could have been avoided, but they forgot about their features. It's not on the DM to kind of remember it, and it's on you guys. So yeah, and then also spells. Yeah, we'll get onto that in a second with this. So spells are kind of difficult to kind of grasp at first. Essentially, you have levels 1 through 9 along with cantrips. Cantrips are spells that you can kind of just do at whim. You don't really need to cost anything, and they're mostly the lower level kind of weaker spells that do various different things. Your spells increase as time goes on and levels go on. So the spells that you know increases, so you can know more spells. You also have different spell levels, 1st level to 9th level, which all have different varying of power as the number increases. You also get different spell slots as those numbers increases. Some spells kind of stack on top of each other. So you can cast a 1st level spell at like 3rd level, and some spells allow you to have like a greater effect with those spells, such as like if you casted a 3rd level fireball at 5th level, you would do an extra 2d6 damage to the target. I think it's 2d6, it might be 4d6. But yeah, so you can cast lower level spells at higher level spell slots, but you can't cast higher level spells at lower level spell slots. Yeah, some examples would be like, oh god, it's so small. Thunderclap would be kind of a cantrip that does this. And some cantrips also increase as levels go on, such as Thunderclap, which has at 5th level, you do 2d8 instead of 1d8. And then at 11th level, you do 3d8. And 17th level, you do 4d8. Charm Person has another thing, so you can cast it at 1st level. But if you cast it at a higher level, you can choose multiple targets to cast it to. So moving on to short and long rest. So short rest, usually these are kind of downtimes that you can take whenever you want. It's short rest is an hour long of just leisurely activities, maybe just kind of relaxing by the fire, polishing an object, so on and so forth. And you can roll your hit dice to heal. So the level that you are, that's how many hit dice that you have. Depending on what class you are is the kind of value of that dice, because it could be a D8 or a D10 or a D12 or a D6 if you're a sorcerer or something. Also, most classes have other features that regenerate with short rest, but most of them aren't. So most of them apply to long rest rather than short rest. No spell slots are really gained from short rest, unless you're a wizard who has the Arcane Recovery, I think that's what it's called, where you gain some spell slots at the end of short rest. Long rest is essentially, it's 8 hours long, besides, unless you're an elf, which is 4 hours, and then another 4 hours of leisurely activity. And a majority of it is sleep. And it kind of counts as a full reset. So all your spell slots come back, your health is fully reset, all your kind of abilities go back to normal. Yeah.
No, go back.
Wait, that's resources again.
No, I know, but these are more
Okay.
like the other resources, like that. The ones we covered earlier are more for just like specifically character making, but like for general D&D stuff, if you want to come up with good character names or location names of maybe where they could have come from, Fantasy Name Generator is a fun resource for that. It's a website. If you want to make mood boards, original inspiration for your characters, you can use Pinterest. For character art, you could use something like Hero Forge, which is technically to make little miniatures, but sometimes you can just go on there and like make your character and just like take a screenshot of it or something. Roll20 is a place that you might potentially be used for playing if you end up having to play D&D online, because obviously COVID. Tabletop Simulator is something you might also end up using if your DM wants to use it for playing. Discord is, again, more of just like where you could potentially play D&D online. And then again, D&D Beyond and D&D books. Great resources for official D&D content to kind of learn more about maybe lore of where your characters are from, what the gods they worship, etc., stuff like that. And then wikis, there's a bunch of them online, lots of homebrew inspiration, lots of lore there. And then again, we're here to help.
All right. So on to the Lions Guild expectations when you are a player affiliated with us. So first off, just don't be a dick. Kind of self-explanatory. And for the most part with our games, you'll be playing online due to COVID-19 because obvious reasons with that. So as a player, you will be also applying to a campaign that will be pitched out to you guys next semester. And you'll apply and we'll try to kind of sort through that and matchmake you guys with the campaigns that you want. Yeah. If you have a problem with your DM, it's kind of a thing where you should talk to them, but also tell us if that kind of escalates and doesn't help. And then we can try to hop in there and talk to the DM and just sort things out with you and them, and hopefully get everything on the right track. And be willing to work with us if you're in an affiliated campaign, because for resources and kind of we're here to help you. Yeah.
Okay, so these are just some friendly reminders. Be creative, be respectful, and have fun, of course.
Yep.
Alrighty, and welcome to the Lions Guild. These are our characters, the board members' characters, who are kind of going to be our personas, I guess, as we tell you guys about Lions Guild events and things. And yeah, this is also some maybe just character inspiration for you. We're really excited to have you all here. It means a lot to us to have all of you kind of show up to this workshop, because it's just really awesome to see how much interest we've gotten into this club. Yeah, so with that being said, I want to talk a little bit about a quest that we're going to be posting in the Discord eventually, hopefully soon. Basically, we want all of you to kind of start thinking about what character you might want to be your Lions Guild affiliated character. We really would love for everybody who is a member of the Lions Guild to make a character to kind of be their like Lions Guild persona. It doesn't necessarily have to be the character you'll play in a campaign or like you might ever play, but like we want to do sort of maybe role play events, whether it be a Tavern Tuesday or in the Discord, and would love for everybody to have a character that they can like know has like a connection to the Lions Guild to kind of use during those types of things. And also it's just going to be a really fun quest so that everybody can kind of get a little bit better at character creation. We'll talk about that more eventually, but I just want to kind of tell you all about that. And so now it's time for questions. So if you have any questions, like raise your hand or just ask it in the chat if you'd rather not speak out loud.
Have questions?
If nobody has questions, that's fine too. But like we are here. Also, like we could just, I don't know, chat. I don't know. We're here.
Yeah. This is essentially the end of everything.
Yeah,
so,
that's all we had to do.
Yeah, that's
so if
all
nobody has questions, but
yeah.
Oh, is Frog someone's character? Very important question. Yes, the frog is someone's character. His name is Grun. Do you want us to like tell you about each of these characters? Is that like of interest? Because like we want to hype them up. Like we want them to be like us, you know, like we exist as people, but these are the people who you're gonna be talking to in the Discord. Okay. Okay, wait. Okay, so like we have like a lot of the lines. Okay, wait. We're gonna stop recording, I think. How do I stop the recording?
Stop share or wait.
No.
Wait, no. How do we stop the recording?
It's fine.
Aries?
Just keep recording.
All right. Just
Okay,
keep
you
going.
wanna keep recording? Okay, so
We can introduce yourselves.
okay, so we've got like some of the lines skill board here. So like I guess we can kind of go around.
Starting
Aries,
with
do you
Kate.
want to start? Yeah.
Me start?
Yeah, you can
Well,
start.
should we go left from right?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh yeah, that makes more sense.
Hi, my name is Kate. My character's name is Ren. She is a rogue, and her alignment is lawful good, and she's also half elf.
Any fun things about her personality or backstory?
She, her family is a bunch of rogues, but roguing is not her calling, but she does it because it makes her family happy.
Cool. Yay. Oh, what are you the head of?
Oh, and I'm the head of communications. So if you have any questions, drop them in the email. I've checked the email a lot. Or ping me on Discord. I'm K with an A in the Discord server. And I check Discord a lot as well.
Yay.
Hey. Hi guys.
Okay.
I'm Aries. I'm the head of management, and my character is Sarah. Sarah is a sorcerer tiefling with a lawful evil alignment, and yeah. Oh, also Sarah was like adopted by a bunch of Dragonborn, and so there's like this whole thing about him like with him trying to discover his identity, being like a Dragonborn, like or adopted by Dragonborn people, but also like being a tiefling, and this whole thing about like trying to be good, but also like have this like kind of ingrained evil and stuff. It's very cool. But yeah,
Yeah, what are you the head of? Did you already say that?
I will.
Did you say that what you're the head of?
Yeah, I'm the head of
Oh.
management. So yeah, you guys can still message me if you guys want, like ask me questions, but everyone else here, else like we're all open to our DMs are open, so hit us up.
Sydney is not here. Does anybody know
I
like a
thought
lot
someone was in
about
the chat.
Oh wait.
Hello.
Yeah,
Hi,
okay.
Sydney.
Yes, unmute yourself and talk.
Hi. So I'm Sydney. Wait, did we see our character names?
Yeah, tell us what you're the head of and then talk about your character a bit.
Basically, I'm the head of marketing. So if you do follow us on Instagram, I've been running that. And my character is an air genocide, genocide, someone correct me. Oh man. Wizard. But yeah, the reason she joined Lions Guild is because she's motivated by the fear of disappointing authority and failure. So she pushed herself really hard to study, and now she's here helping people and trying not to disappoint her parents. So that's her. And I mean, Summer's not here, but
Yeah.
Summer is the frog.
He is. from-
Yeah, we'll save Grun for last. We'll have somebody do. You want
Yeah.
to do Grun?
Sure.
Wait, his
Okay,
only background though was that he likes hot food, like legit.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Grun is Grun, and Grun joined Lions Guild because Grun.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Grum.
Okay. Y'all already kind of saw my character because we were using her as the example, but basically this is Temerity. She's a satyr, bard, chaotic neutral. Specifically, she's a clown. Like I know she's a bard, but like let's be real, she's actually a clown. And I'm kind of describing her as like an emo, like punk bard clown. I don't know. She's a little crazy. And yeah, her backstory is just like her family owned a circus, and then like she was trained to be an entertainer, and then she was like, this is embarrassing, I don't want to do this. Then she left, but like she secretly loved performing. She doesn't want to admit it, so she's a little bit of a, you know, a bitch, but it's fine. But then she joins the Lions Guild, and then she's like, wait, psych, I actually do like performing. Adventuring kind of sucks.
Right. And then head of the.
Oh yeah, I'm the head of development. Yeah, I'm here for all the players and development things. Yeah.
All right. So my character is Thionin, who is an artificer. He is chaotic good, and essentially he's a furbolg, like furbolgs do. And his whole thing is that he was kind of just trapped in his house, kind of isolated, alone, just tinkering with his own objects. And he tried to kind of reach out and show his creations to other people, but it just never worked out. And eventually he came across the Lions Guild and kind of started to show people it, and his creations kind of got acknowledged, and he kind of just is going with that and trying to figure stuff out. Also, I'm head of gameplay.
Yeah, so that's the
really
Lions Guild. Yeah, Yeah, you'll be seeing more of these characters on our Instagram and in our Discord. Like as I said, we want to do more like role play type events, so that's who we will be in those events. Yeah. Also, one of them isn't even unveiled yet, so stay tuned on the Instagram. More to come.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, just to reward everyone who has stayed for this long, just as a heads up, we're going to be posting about the upcoming campaigns very soon, and also just keep your heads up for like very cool like, huh?
DM interviews. Mention DM interviews. Never mind.
This is a player workshop, so like.
But like you should still mention it.
Oh, okay. We also have DM interviews, so like, yeah, we're going to be interviewing all of our
campaigns for
DMs.
next semester.
Huh?
The campaigns for next semester.
Yeah, they are. But we're going to start talking about campaigns and stuff
yeah.
at the end of this semester and throughout the winter break. So keep an eye out for that. Like,
If you're interested in being a DM, ping me on Discord, and I'll give you the information for that.
yeah.
Yeah.
And hopefully our campaigns start running like around next February. And
Hopefully,
yeah, hopefully around that time. So it's actually going to be very quick. So like keep an eye out for
Yeah.
the campaigns that you enjoy, or like you're like, oh, this is really cool. I like the cyberpunk stuff, or I like the horror stuff. Like keep an eye out for that. And yeah.
Yeah, and to any like buddy in this Zoom call who maybe has never played D&D before, is still very much a beginner. Like I know it can feel really intimidating, but I promise you, like we are here for you to like help you as much as possible. And we do not want you to feel intimidated by any of this because it can be really scary and nerve-wracking, but we promise you it's really fun. And once you get the hang of it, it's really amazing and such an awesome hobby to have. So like genuinely do not be afraid to reach out to any of us if you have questions. Like even if the question to you seems stupid, I promise you it's not, because we've all asked those types of questions. Like not me having played D&D for 2 years and literally yesterday having to be like, what is a D10? Like I'm like, you know what I mean? Like none of us are perfect. So like, do not be afraid to come reach out to us, ask questions. We have the Discord open, which you haven't joined, definitely join it. We have our email, we have Instagram. If you even just know us in real life, like just stop us in the hallway on like literally we're here to help you. We're here to give you information, and we're so excited to have you all here. Like this means a lot to us. And I'm so excited to hear about all the crazy characters you make. Character creation is my favorite part of D&D, and I want you guys to make the coolest characters, and I'm so excited to hear about them. Like it's going to be so awesome.
Mhm. All right.
Yeah.
Is
So
there any other questions? Chat or someone will speak up.
all right, I'm going to take that as a no. Thank you so much to everyone who came tonight. This was really, really fun. Just stay tuned for more information. And we'll see you all when we see you.
All right. Yep.
Goodbye.
Thank you.
Welcome to the
Goodbye.
Lions Guild.
Welcome to the Lions Guild.
I don't know how to end it.